we can't merge files together if the patient is closed. We can, but it's very difficult and might not be as accurate as you would like it to be. So at those situations, that's why we ask for you guys to possibly get a scan that the patient is not closed.
I have a question.
Yes.
Would it be advantageous to tell DDI we want like a maxillary scan, but we're going to be placing implants in these areas, so, you know, can you try to make sure that
I can tell you this, if you tell DDI that every single patient is supposed to be opened a little bit, that will not make any difference for you for any type of case.
Okay.
Because it's not going to make absolutely any difference when it comes to clinically planning surgically, planning for the digital planning, or to seeing what we need to see within the scan. So every patient can be open.
How open? I mean, what would be our instruction? Just not
They
teeth
said
not
7 to 8
touching?
millimeters.
Say again?
7 to 8 millimeters.
7 to 8 millimeters is on average that. Usually the biting stick is about a diameter of 3 to 4 millimeters. The patient either bites it on the front, or you have this little biting stick that comes into with the CBCT scanner, or cotton roll.
Right. We are sending them a radiographic stent that they're supposed to put on in order to be able to see what we think the crown should be. And I can incorporate in my guide a radiographic stent, a lift in an area where I want those 7, 8 millimeter openings. So when they bite down all the way on that, they're not going to go further. So, I mean, we can control that from our standpoint rather than depending on the technician to do the 7, 8.
As long as you let them know, they actually have a specific bite stick within the actual scanner that they can utilize, and it's universal, and I think
so all we have to do is ask, we want that rather than the
for
closed.
the scans, open scans. Yes, the scans
Open
are
scans.
open.
Okay, that's important. Absolutely. Great.
So did Sean show you how to put implants right next to each other?
No,
They're going to be parallel?
leave at one implant placed. So no,
Okay.
we get that.
So let's call it that this is the implant that we were good with, and we're going to pretend that number 13 is not existing here. We're going to need to put that number 13 adjacent to it, because that's probably the best what we can do at the moment, or we can go on the other side. But what we can do, we can add actual implants to it. Let me just double check. First and foremost, you have a drop down here, and I was using it, I don't know if you guys were paying attention to it, but there's 3 different things on it. There's going to be measurements, implants, and panoramic curve. Those are the things that we selected. So when we are going to be placing implants, that is implant parallel to something, so adjacent to it, we're going to click implant. First of all, we want to make sure we select the structure where we're going to be putting anything parallel to. So we are going to select our implant, so we have a number here and it says implant. Then we're going to go and see place an implant at a distance. Very complicated, right? It tells you everything in it. It's not at all. So what is it going to say? Hey, we're going to place an implant. We're going to place it at a distance of 7 millimeters. Sounds about right. It's going to go to the left or to the right. You can make that decision. And then we're going to align it to panoramic curve, parallel in 3D or vertical. I always leave it to be paralleling it aligning it on panoramic curve. At this point, I'm going to click OK. And we have our second implant right there. So the implant's there. You can see it right there. On our panel, it's not, well, you can't see it very well on the panel. But one thing I can tell you, that implant is in the same depth, same angulation, and is within the same path, is parallel to each other. They're parallel to each other right now. I'm going to open it up in here. I'm going to click number 2 because it selected it as a second implant that we placed. So what our job is going to be is simply selecting that implant here that says number 2, right-clicking on it, going into properties, and changing it to implant number 13. It's going to automatically change it for us, And remember, the implant that we're placing adjacent to it, that we're doing place next, same at the distance, is going to have the same implant size, same implant length, same path of insertion. I guess it's going to be parallel to each other. So we're going to leave it at that. So right now, the numbers have changed. So we have number 12 and 13, right? So that should be good.
Can you maintain the same angle and move the two implants a little bit apart?
Yes, you can.
Point? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. Here. Let's look at this. We're gonna then translate that implant, right? So we are selected on implant number 13. I'm gonna go change implant, and then see this on the bottom. It says move implants. So we have an implant that is number 13, and what you get is this little.
Okay.
Oh, it's not gonna allow me to do that. It's we can angle it, go back to it, and all the measurements are right here by 0.5 millimeter. Translation step, rotation step by 5 degrees. So here's the rotation, and here's the translation. So we want to move it, right? We can move it one way, we can move it the other way. Right now we're in the sinus, but that's okay.
Oh,
we can bring it down a little bit. We can push it up.
So obviously that implant's not going to be in the right place.
Right, it's not, because we
no,
put it right on top of the
got it.
the root. So we can change that, and we can translate it into, let's say, 2 millimeters each. So you can see how much we're going to move it each way.
So if you had a case where you actually have bone there and no sinus interference, you can kind of maintain everything else, and then kind of basically the spatial relationship just need to be changed, that's all.
Right.
Parallelism should be, so, okay.
So you can go, for example, in here and say, hey, I'm going to move it 2 millimeters.
It's just a quick way to produce the second implant without going through all the other steps.
Right.
And then you can go back and sort of tweak it.
Yeah.
Yes, and you definitely can do that, and then you want to make sure that you're going to go back into the same thing. And
With linus abutment, you really don't need for them to be exactly parallel.
No.
So it's kind of a moot point.
Where it matters is like on locator cases, so you're not getting wearing of the housings. Or if you're going to do a bridge there, and in the old school days when you couldn't change the angulation, well, you'd want it parallel, so you'd move one and
You kind of line them up better.
or simply, if you have a diagnostic wax up,
Right.
and you have bone, you don't have to really worry about it too much.
Right.
You want that screw to be coming out the best possible way, because yes, we can physically change the angulation of the screw axis hole, but if you know that this one is correct and the other one can be just as similar, that's a really easy way for us to place it.
Right.
So we can place as many implants as we want like that. So we can align it in different ways. So those are the options that you can guys go through. But let's say, okay, well, we have our implants where we want them. And the next step would be saving the case, right, and uploading it to Dental Planet. So let's go through Dental Planet right now, so you guys can actually see how we're going to upload it. And Frank, I'm going to use your Wi-Fi if you don't mind.
Let's see if it's on.
Is it, well? Yep. I'm still connected, so I'm going to go back to home, because apparently I do have the account.
Yeah, a lot of this will make a lot more sense when we're actually sitting down and designing a case.
Yeah.
Because when you actually, I'm more of a
You have to feel
hands-on
it.
feel it, yeah.
I have to too. Like I could tell you their presentation, but the clicks, I don't have it on my computer either,
Right.
so I don't.
Well, I think next time what you guys should have is
Well, that's what my
laptops.
recommendation is. We've got the basics.
Right.
We've just got this stuff installed. Then we set up a time and we ship the computers, come back, and everybody follows on the keystrokes.
So do I have all the library and this thing now yet, or are you still working on it?
No, I have to go in your computer and see it,
Okay.
because I can't just upload the library from my computer. I will be sent. Okay, I'll get an email. And you do have that information, and if not, we'll get it in one way or the other. So,
okay.
Was an implant sent me to my junk? Yes.
Nothing. No, I think it's a great idea. Sean and I had talked about that after your comment. Yeah, I think the next step would get the computer sent from them, see how many people we have. How many computers do they have to do that?
I think 30 altogether.
Okay.
So I don't
So
think
we
you
could
should
get
be
a
worried
list.
about that.
No, but we need a list from here to know who wants to do it on what dates, so we can just go click by click and do it.
That'd be great. Just hands-on, that really makes a big difference.
And if we have cases right now, Sean and I will come and work them up with you. You'll learn that way too. You know, or just Sean. You know, if I'm not available.
That'd be great.
Yep, or if you need more of a training like we're doing it right now, then you would have to schedule it sometime
Yeah.
and get it done. Okay, I can't plug into this one. I'm gonna set you guys up with your generic account right now because I can't get mine out. So let's register VA here. Is there a specific name we're gonna be sending it up as?
Oh, just call it VAMI for now. Is this gonna be our permanent account or just
It will be permanent account unless we delete it.
Right.
call it VA Mare Island?
Yeah, and then we just, it's all gonna be on one password, I'm assuming, right? So we just,
And separate word Mare Island, M-A-R-E, and then separate word island.
Is that an underscore?
Yeah.
VA underscore math underscore island.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it at that right now, and I'm gonna set up your password as Simplant1, capital S, 1, and then exclamation mark at the end. That's, you guys don't have to worry about changing it, but I'll write it down here too.
okay.
1 and exclamation.
Mayor. And you said the password's gonna be what? Because I'll save this.
Simplant
I have
1.
Sim-
Exclamation.
Yep, exclamation.
So spelled out Simplant one, or?
Simplant,
So you-
1,
right,
and then
okay.
exclamation.
Okay.
And is it capitalized Simplant?
Yes. I can't see it.
And the one will be a letter one, not the Roman numeral, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanna make sure.
How does it not match now? I'm gonna try it again. Okay. The name. So we're gonna have to find a one name that is.
You guys pick a name, pick you guys' name, because I'm not ever part of
Just
the on here.
Ronald Ainsley.
And the last.
Ian.
Last name is E-N-G?
That's easy. And then email. There has to be an email address
We can
specifically
use
for
a,
you.
we use a VA email, which was ronald.ing
Mm-hmm.
at va.gov.
We can also remember to actually create this type of this personal information account, like Dental Planet, for each one of you guys. So there's not every case that's been always done, but it's specifically for you guys.
But would the username still be under one person?
No, the username would be specifically for your VA. This account, this email, right? And if there's a new one, you will just simply register it as a new one. We're gonna have the same shipping address and the shipping information and billing information for VA, but you can still have individual accounts.
So individual profile.
Profiles there will be, yeah.
Okay.